Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Celevators Live episode number 2. For those of you that are joining us, I want to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may be dialing or tuning in from. I guess you're not actually dialing, are you? But I am going to ask everyone to kind of share with us in the comments below where you are tuning in from. I'm going to type that out right now and add that to the comments. So make sure that you tell us where you're tuning in from. I am here in Houston, Texas. I am doing this one solo today. I wanted to try something. So the first episode, which was last Tuesday, was with my very good friend Rodney Steele. If you did not see that Celevators launch, then be sure to go see that. I'll even drop the link to that in the comments below after the show. Rodney was so kind as to join me on my first one, in which we talked about really automating the prospecting. So how do you create targeted, even more so targeted lists, and automate the process such that you increase your success rate when you are cold calling. And Rodney, if you don't know, is he has his own business in which he does offer those services, but he's also a PEO broker. And if you don't know PEO, it is really, think about HR in a box. Well, it's not really a box, but he leverages vendors out there and brings to you the best solution based on your needs. So go check out Rodney and his profile, but also check out the live stream from last week. So again, if you are tuning in now on Team Live, let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm here in Houston, Texas. Last week was more of an interview style, or where actually I don't think it was too much of an interview, but it was instead more of a conversation. But nonetheless, two of us on the stream together. This time, what I decided to do was do this solo. Although I do have some guests lined up for some future ones, but I wanted to actually change the format up for a couple of different reasons. One is I wanted to test out a few things, and I'll talk about that in a second. And the other was I wanted to offer the opportunity for guests to try to join with us, and I'll share about how to do that in just a second. But anyway, so what I wanted to change this week was, one, I did not, if you saw my poll on, I think, Monday, which would have been yesterday, right? Today's only Tuesday. Gosh, it's going to be a long week. If you saw my poll on Monday, I wanted to find out, for those of us who actually create lives, do we always create events first? And then when we stream, such that it goes both to the LinkedIn event and on our profile, or do we not? And interestingly enough, 60% of those that have lives actually said that, or 60% of people said that they do have lives in which they create events for. 27% said they didn't, and the rest didn't actually have a live. If you want to participate in that, go back and I'll actually put the link for that for that poll in the comments below. But more importantly, for those of you that are out here listening, is it helpful for you to have an actual event that you've added to your calendar? So in essence, for today, I did not create a LinkedIn event, but have for weeks past for all of my LinkedIn events or lives, even audio events, actually. I've created events. Is it helpful for you to have them or not? I don't tend to invite people on those events, so you kind of just have to see it anyway. So I do post it when the event is created. As you know, that just happens inherently. So tell us whether or not in the comments below you prefer to have a invite or a meeting event or an event, LinkedIn event that actually you can put into your calendar or not, kind of testing things out. So right now you won't see multiple streams. You'll just see the stream coming from my profile page. So interesting, right? Love to hear. So again, tell us where you're tuning in from, and also let us know whether or not you prefer a LinkedIn event that you can add to your calendar or not. So going back to format, last week was more of an interview, and most of my lives actually are more of two people sitting together. Although I hope that they're not interview style, they are discussions about how we both are, just discussions between the two of us, whomever that guest might be. This week, I wanted to try something different. And by the way, this came out of a conversation. This was fostered by a conversation with Rodney, of whom I, again, adore, as you can tell, because I had him as my first guest. But we had an opportunity to talk live, kind of debrief after the event, and prep before the event. And what I think I wanted to try is really having you as the audience join us on stage here in the green room, and then onto the stage thereafter. The goal eventually, ideally, what we'd like to do is have conversations with individuals who really have situational questions. They have something occurring within the sales process that they need some resolution to, or need some answers, questions, or maybe need a different perspective. And so the goal is to have those types of individuals join us here on stage, so that they can share with us what the situation is, and we can talk through it live in front of everyone, so everyone learns at the same time. That is ideally where we'd like to go. And I say we being me. But that was really, that fruitioned again as out of a conversation with Rodney. That being said, I may even have him join us on stage here and there to see, how we can accomplish this most effectively. But for the short term, meaning today, I'm going to give you the StreamYard link in the comments below. So bear with me as I put both of them. I put them in there. So I'm managing both tech and doing this solo here. Sometimes I can really hide what I'm doing because someone else is talking at the time. That all being said, I have put the link to the StreamYard. If you're interested in joining me on stage, feel free to do so. And the goal would be for you to come on stage and really have a conversation with us about some of the things that you see happening within your sales processes, or in a specific scenario or sales situation in which you're struggling with, need help with, or just have some insights. For those of you that know, I talk about sales, AI, and humanity, and bringing those all together. So how do sales, AI, and humanity all intersect? This week, what I really wanted, and which, oh, by the way, for those of you that have seen the launch of my newsletter, it's HumAIn, HUM, capital uppercase AI and then N, so human AI sales. Gosh, I'm struggling. Let me see if I can hold on. Let me take this off, and it might actually show it. Yes, there you go. HumAIn Sells. I don't know what I'm going to do as it relates to naming my Cellivators Live. I've left it as Cellivators, but if you think it might need to be HumAIn AI Sells, let me know in the comments below. You can also, if you're on Team Replay still after the show, leave your thoughts or your ideas regarding. So I may change the name or at least give the Cellivators Live a name, and so that it corresponds potentially with my newsletter. So be sure to let me know again where you're located, if you prefer a LinkedIn event to download into your calendar prior to actually attending the event, so that it's in there. And three, let me know if you like Cellivators Live just plain, or if you think it should be HumAIn AI Sells in addition to. So HumAIn AI Sells Cellivators Live, or maybe a combination of that, or even something else. So give me your thoughts below. If you saw the banner, though, that I created, it is for today's topic is really about being curious in sales. And I think that that is something that we all could do a better job in. In fact, I will tell you that if you look at stats, only 20% of sales actually bring in 80% of the deals. And of those 20%, there are some commonalities amongst the top 5%. They are that they're flexible and creative, right? I think that's key. But then they spend more time on asking questions, being curious, and they ask high value questions, listening, actively listening. So they're carefully listening so that they can continuously ask more and more questions so that they can clarify their issues rather than simply assuming. And therefore, they then wait to present their product or their issues until they've completely understood the problem. Now, there's some other characteristics, such as that they set high value or high goals and objectives with targets. They plan daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and they ensure that they set their objectives accordingly. But in the top 5% of the 20% that bring in 80% of the deals, they really heavily focus on being curious. That's something that I think is a lost art. Is that what I hang my hat on? I don't really know that. I hang my hat on, the human aspect of sales. Yes, adopt and adapt to AI technologies, leverage them for efficiencies while still retaining the human element within those processes, but then shift and focus your time and energies on the higher value activities, those activities that are all human centric, that help to create this human experience that the buyers of today demand. And creating that experience can only be done when we as humans are actively listening and engaging in conversation by asking questions and being curious, getting to probable root cause of a problem. And that is really where I wanted to spend more time and focus on. So again, for those of you that are out there listening to us today, and I know there are several of you out there, be sure that if you want to join us, there is the link to join me on stage. When you come up, the goal would be to just talk through some situations, scenarios, strategies, etc., live here on the stage. And since this is the first show in which I'm doing this, if that does not feel yet quite so comfortable because it's a little bit of the unknown, then just join me on stage and let's talk through just sales in general and being curious. So when I actually created a post, I think it was yesterday or the night before, it was about being curious and asking questions. So the scenario was, most times so let's give you a real life example, not necessarily sales related, just real life. So most times when you ask, Susie, how are you doing? And I think I actually used Susie in the post, but Susie, how are you doing? Susie will answer, I'm doing great, thank you. And most of us say, okay, and we move on to the next topic or next theme or round of questions that we want to ask. Very seldom do people say, or do people ask, oh, well, that's awesome. Tell me what great means to you. Why is today so great? Well, it's great because the sun is shining. Yeah, well, do you love the sun more than you do? What does the sun do for you? And you could go a million different directions with that question. Well, I love the sun because I am happier and I love to stand outside, do some grounding, and have the sun beating on my face. Oh, so do you do that daily? Well, obviously, I can't do that daily if the sun's not out, but most of the time when the sun is out, I definitely take the time to go out into the sun and spend a few moments soaking up the rays. Why is that so valuable or important to you? Well, because for me, I feel like when I allow this to take in the sun, it just increases this creativity. It allows me to flow better. I don't know. I just love the sun. So what happens when you don't have days where you can stand in the sun? Well, man, sometimes if I can't, I have to really figure out ways to find the sun without actually leveraging the sun. So maybe instead I just sit in front of a red light, or I might actually go to a tanning bed, or I might, instead of seeking out the sun, I spend a few minutes longer meditating, or whatever it is. So the point of this scenario is that you continuously ask questions, which we don't tend to do as humans, especially in this world where we seem to be more and more entrenched in our own lives and increasingly more busy, focused on, getting to the next step. We forget to ask those types of questions. I call those the second, third, fourth, fifth line sorts of questions. For those of you that are just tuning in, we've had quite a few people join us. Welcome. Tell us where you're from in the comments below. Also, if you want to join us on the stage, I've put the StreamYard link, so come in and join us. If you were here for last week's Cellovators Live, it was the launch, and I had Rodney Steele on there. He joined me, and we talked about PEOs, and so that is what he does. He's a broker for PEOs, for all PEOs, but also he has another business in which he really helps automate the prospecting. So we talked about how do you automate, or how do you put systems in place that help you automate prospecting better. So we talked about that last week. This week, what I wanted to do, and while I have some guests coming up for the following Cellovators Lives, which are Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Central or Houston, Texas time, this week what I wanted to do was spend a little bit more time talking about being curious, and welcome those on the stage that are interested in having some conversation, sharing a little bit about how they're curious, or even talking through specific scenarios or situations or sales processes in which they would like to do better, or need some input, or just really want to maybe brainstorm some new creative ideas. So again, you can join the StreamYard if you so choose. So click on that and I will welcome you on stage. Ideally, what I would like to see is, going forward, whether we have guests here or not, we actually talk through some real live scenarios, helping you to solve to some real life problems that you can leverage practical solutions to as soon as you walk away from the show. That being said, this again is something new that I'm trying, so bear with me. But getting back to being curious, we talked about I opened this up with the top 5% of those of successful salespeople. They are much more curious. They're consistently asking more and more questions that are of high value, and they listen carefully or actively so that they can ask the follow-on questions, and they're consistently or continuously clarifying the issue so that they can ensure that when they present a solution, product, or service offering, that they're actually doing that in relation to trying to actually solve a problem. So asking those questions that get to probable root cause enable them to do that more effectively. So we talked about, just ran through just a general scenario, what it means to ask second, third, fourth, fifth line questions, to truly be curious and to actively listen so that you can ask the right next question as it relates to just a simple, hi, how are you doing? And I think I actually used that in the post that I published yesterday. I'm thinking it was yesterday, in relation to being curious. But how does that relate to then potentially sales? So let's use, for example, just something simple, right? We have an opportunity to engage in conversation with a potential buyer, and you ask them, and you may ask them, hey, so I know you're interested in my solution, but why are you looking for a solution right now? Well, I'm looking to, and I'll think back to my capacity management days. I'm looking for a capacity management solution and just came across yours. Okay, so this is where most people, or most salespeople, quite a few, I won't really say most, but quite a few salespeople will say, well, tell me then, what's this project look like? What are some of the requirements? But a better way to respond to that would be to start to ask even follow-on questions. So if they say, I'm looking for a capacity management solution and I came across yours. So why are you looking for a capacity management solution? Well, I have all of these servers and I'm not really quite sure. I know I'm spending way too much money and I really need to figure out how to find some cost savings. Okay, so why is cost savings so important to you? What specifically, are you challenged right now? Are you, and so, there are lots of different questions you could ask, and whatever their response may be. Well, let's see. I am super challenged with the fact that we are spending way too much money, and I really need to figure out how to rein in those costs. Well, what does your environment look like today? Oh, well, I have 1,000 servers. Okay. And what are you trying, how much money are you currently spending on the back end in hardware, in computing costs? Well, I'm spending whatever, $200,000. And I need to reduce that, $200,000 a month, and I need to reduce that. Well, how much do you need to reduce that to? Okay. Have you gone through a capacity management exercise previously? Yes. Did you use a solution? No, it was super manual. How long did it take you to execute on that? How long did to go through that exercise? Well, it took us like 3 months, and I don't think we even got to where we needed to get to. Well, how far did you get? Well, I don't actually know that either. Tell me a little bit about the process. So it's really, I mean, that's an example of really diving in and asking the questions. A lot of salespeople will, when you first say, well, when they first respond with, hey, I'm looking for a capacity management solution, and I just came across yours. Okay, well, tell me, what's this project look like? What are some of your requirements? They'll go in that direction rather than truly trying to uncover. Yes, you can get to these types of questions at some point within the conversation, but it'll take you longer to get there, meaning longer to qualify, longer to determine the solution than if you would have just asked at the very beginning. They left you a door open, and it was your opportunity then to ask more and more questions to help you truly get to a true understanding of whether or not you were both a good fit, so you could qualify in or qualify out very, very quickly. I think that is what we are missing in today's world, because and this isn't just in sales, just in general. If you think about humanity, we are so crazy busy, and we forget to dive in and ask the second and third and fourth layer questions, so that we can get to know people more and better and help solve to their problems more effectively. I will say that when I talk about humanity in general, I think that we are getting lost. We get, again, so busy that we forget to have, even as humans outside of sales, some of these simple conversations. And we think about, oh, hello, Chella. And we think about the people that we are, that, you know, I just saw today, or yesterday, I think I saw someone here on LinkedIn that it seems has taken their life. Could we have asked follow-on questions or second and third line questions to truly understand a bit more about what they were, that they were even challenged, what they were challenged with, how we could help them. And I know that's going off the deep end, but it's the value of being curious and asking questions in sales doesn't only help us in sales, but just helps us be better humans. Today, buyers, it isn't necessarily just about know, like, and trust. It's actually know, like, and trust with credibility. Credibility used to be more easily established because prior to 5 years ago, it was the role of the sales rep to educate our buyers. So you inherently then developed this trust with credibility because you educated them about your product, your service, the industry, the challenges that others were facing, because they quite frankly didn't have time to manage to that. If you recall, prior to 5 years ago, people were not sitting at their desks like they are today. They went into the office. They were going from meeting to meeting to meeting, and didn't have time. So when they actually did sit at their desk, they were trying to answer as many emails as they could or make as many phone calls as possible before they were on to the next meeting, which, by the way, was usually, again, not even just not at their desk, but sometimes not even in the same office building. Today, while they may still be on back-to-back meetings or a million meetings a day, they are sitting now in front of their laptop, so they have more time to be educated. So they've done their research. By the time they come to you in search of a solution, they've already in their minds already down selected you as part of their top 3 to 5 potential vendors that they want to engage with. So it's not about educating them anymore. So the only way we're going to build credibility is by having more conversation with them, getting to probable root cause, asking those second, third, fourth line questions, being curious. So, so very important. So I want to welcome Chella out there. I know there are others. I can see that there are more listening. So if you feel like it, let us know where you're calling in from. And there's also a StreamYard link. So join us on stage if you so choose. Last week we had more of a conversation with a guest, Rodney Steele. This week I wanted to try solo. Now I do have guests on following episodes, but I really wanted to try something new this week, which was, really talking through some of your challenges, some of the things you're seeing, having conversations around being curious, what's working, what's not working. So if you feel so inclined, click on the StreamYard link in the comments below and join us on stage. Otherwise, we will try this out on next week. I'll potentially try this out again, but I do have a guest next week, so I'm super excited about that. In the meantime, we've been talking about how important it is to continuously be curious, not just in sales, but just for all of humanity, part of our everyday acumen. We should be when we have conversations, instead of them being subsurface, let's really get to understand and know those that we're engaging with, especially in sales. Get to know and understand your buyers. You want to, when you're asking questions, you want to do 2 things. You really want to get to probable root cause, and then you want to understand what makes the buyer a hero in this scenario. So they're actively seeking out a solution to solve to a problem. You've uncovered what that problem is, and now you really need to understand what is it that is truly helping them to be the hero. If they solved this problem, does it mean they get promoted? Do they just get better visibility? Is there a KPI associated with? So are they getting bonused? If they save money, what does that mean to the company, and how does that affect them? These are all things in which you want to try to uncover. So you want to get to probable root cause. The purpose of being curious is to get to probable root cause and to find out what makes your buyer a hero so that you can create this win-win situation for them. Well, we are now at the bottom of the hour. You've spent some time with me today trying out this or testing out this new format. Not sure if I'll stick to it, but I am so interested in trying it again as we have guests. We do have upcoming guests for future shows. Celevators is on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. If you are listening still, be sure, and there's still quite a few of you out there, be sure to tell us where you're calling in from. Chella is, well, you're not calling, actually, you're listening. Where you're listening in from. Chella is in Orange, California. I'm in Houston, Texas. Also, this was a different format, not only in the way we're doing it today, but also I didn't create a LinkedIn event as I previously have done. I put a poll out for those that actually do have LinkedIn events, so you can go back. I'll put the link in it later. For those that actually do have LinkedIn events, do you create the actual event in LinkedIn or not? I've been doing that. I did not for today's. And interestingly enough, I still have quite a few people here, but for those that are out there, I would like to know, in addition to where you're from, do you prefer to have a LinkedIn event so that you can download it into your calendar? Do you even download it in your calendar? I do, but does everyone else do that? So how helpful is it to have a LinkedIn event associated with a live stream? And then I think the last question was, I have launched, Celevators is my brand, but I've launched the newsletter as HumAIn Sells. And just so that you can see that, it's HumAIn Sells. And my question is, should I just keep it as the Celevators Live, or should it be continue with the branding of the HumAIn Sells Celevators Live? So that was a lot. Feel free to let us know how you feel, what your thoughts are. Let us know if you're on Team Live or Team Replay by hashtag Team Replay. Um, Tomorrow, I have my CAF AI chats at the same time as this morning, so 9 a.m. Central. I will have Talon McTavish on there tomorrow. He is entrenched in crypto and in AI technologies, so we'll have a great conversation around AI events or news, current happenings, as well as a little bit more about what Talon does. And then on Fridays, I have my coffees with Denise. Now, this Friday, I am actually taking a break from that live, as I have been going nonstop. I do my for sales, AI, and humanity. I do my Celevators, my CAF AI chats, and then coffees with Denise. And then I also partner with a couple of others for my Thursday 9 a.m. LinkedIn audio and live. So we alternate weeks. We're the trio, Chad Johnson and Chella Diaz, in which we talk about sales as well. But as we come about it from 3 different angles, so that's really cool. And then I do my random in real life pop-ups here and there. Last week I had Clayton Townsend, so if you did not have an opportunity to see that, go and watch that as well. I'll put the links in for those. But anyway, so I do quite a few here. So we're going, and so I appreciate everyone being here. You know where to find me the rest of the week. If I'm not on the lives, I'm posting and I'm in the comments. So engage with me in the comments here or on my other posts. Let's have some conversation. I'd like to see you up on stage next week or any week thereafter, so we can actually talk about real live scenarios and situations in which you're seeing how it, how we can humanize sales, specifically how to be more curious and engage in a way that gets us to probable root cause and sets our buyers up for this hero experience. So I want to thank everyone for joining me today. I appreciate everyone who was here. Let me know in the comments whether you were here as Team Live or Team Replay. Chime in on any of the questions, any one of the 3 or even all 3 of the questions that I asked by commenting below or sending me a DM. And if you want to join us on the live stream next week, let me know. I will as well then send you the StreamYard. Again, thank everyone for being here. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day. And for those of you that want to join me tomorrow, I'll be here for CAF AI Chats at 9 a.m. with Talon. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.